Imagine a night when all of your assumptions are abruptly altered. Insiders claim that Karlie may have discovered a startling detail about Ashley and Mendeecees, with potentially disastrous consequences. Friendships have reportedly been strained, and fans have begun to doubt loyalty as a result of Ashley and Mendeecees' alleged covert romance. According to reports, Zayne is currently at the center of this maelstrom, and her feelings are more intense than ever. A peaceful evening swiftly descended into tense arguments, accusations flying in all directions, and startling disclosures that nobody could have predicted, according to sources. Zayne had a strong reaction, according to witnesses, and the room fell into chaos as tensions rose and voices were raised. Whether deliberate or not, Karlie's disclosure has started a series of events that could permanently alter the dynamics between these reality TV stars. As the action plays out, fans are apparently in disbelief, with some picking sides and others just watching in shock. There are rumors of sudden walkouts, covert partnerships, and betrayals. Additionally, the atmosphere is reportedly in complete disarray. Is this the season's greatest scandal? What is coming to light is more startling than anyone could have predicted. Thus, pay attention. Silently, almost sensuously, the blackness began. The actors were intended to have a laid-back evening of cocktails and catch up when they convened at Ashley's house. Insiders claim that tensions were simmering beneath the surface, despite viewers' perceptions that it was just another ordinary reality TV hangout. When Zayne initially arrived, he appeared very nervous. His eyes darted across the room, catching previously unnoticed glimmers of Ashley and Mendeecees. He nursed a drink that seemed rather heavier than normal, and said to himself, "I don't like being left out of the loop." As usual, Karlie had a keen sense of drama. She noticed the hesitant silences, the apprehensive giggles, and the hardly noticeable hand gestures that indicated more was happening than anyone wanted to acknowledge. The room froze as she leaned close to Zayne and whispered, "There's something strange about tonight," to a companion. "You might want to know what's really going on between Ashley and Mendeecees," before anyone could respond. Zayne's forehead was his eyes snapped towards her, his brow furrowed, and his heart seemed to be pounding. The repercussions struck him suddenly. There had been rumors before, but this time they were different. This was not a matter of hearsay. Karlie's words were clear and purposeful, suggesting a covert affair that had been kept out of the public eye. As Zayne took in the news, his palms began to shake a little. His tone was clearly jagged, but he made an effort to smooth it down. Ashley's smile wavered for the first time that evening when Mendeecees shuffled uncomfortably on the couch. Other partners exchanged nervous glances, some of them trying in private to distract themselves from the impending storm. Zayne felt the room closing in on him, but he didn't believe it. Ashley's response was a little louder than usual. "I don't know what Karlie is talking about," revealing her composed exterior, but you could feel the tension. With a steady but low voice, Karlie said, "I've seen enough to know that something is occurring. It's not my place to say everything, but it's big, and Zayne, you deserve to know." Without further explanation, the room's atmosphere changed from light-hearted laughter to tight worry. Karlie chose to move slowly after feeling the bomb had dropped. Zayne's mouth clenched. He leaped to his feet and knocked. Startled, he dropped his drink from the table. He walked for a while before he stopped in front of Ashley and said, "I can't believe this." Ashley took a quick look at Mendeecees before turning back to Zayne and adding, "It's difficult." Zayne cut her off, saying, "Complicated? We're not talking about missing keys or tardy appointments." His voice rose a little, but beneath it was a raw intensity that silenced everyone else. "We're talking about trust, Ashley. Have trust." A restrained fury. Even Mendeecees, who had made an effort to maintain a neutral front, now appeared to be torn between protecting himself and preventing things from getting worse. "Zay, I didn't mean for anyone to learn this way," he said softly, almost beggingly. Zayne's eyes, however, never left him. Karlie stood silently watching, knowing that she had unintentionally sprung a maelstrom. The atmosphere in the room was one of anticipation and excitement. Fans who had been following this group for years could only speculate about the impending explosion. From incredulity, Zayne's feelings have changed from rage to a seething mixture of betrayal and heartache. His voice cracked slightly as he turned to face Ashley. "After everything we've gone through, with the talks and the promises, this is what you've been hiding." Ashley couldn't look him in the eye, so she looked down. Her nearly inaudible statement, "I didn't want to hurt anyone," was barely audible over Zayne's racing thoughts. Friends attempted to wave them away when they tried to soothe him by interrupting, saying, "Don't keep silent. They must tell me this." Mendeecees' voice was more steady than he felt when he finally began, and the next few seconds seemed to drag on forever. The room fell silent, but for the faint whisper of stress and the occasional wriggle of an anxious individual shifting in their chair. "I didn't expect this to happen too, Zayne. It simply occurred," he added. "I thought we could keep it under wraps, but obviously that didn't work out." The news was unexpected, but it also seemed like a betrayal based on years of life experience and mutual trust. Zayne's eyes widened and his face displayed a mixture of mounting fury and surprise. His tone was controlled and cutting, and everyone held their breath. "What were your thoughts? You thought this wouldn't catch you? Is there anything I wouldn't know?" "See, I didn't start this," he said, and Karlie chose to intervene gently because she knew the tension was at its highest. "What I'm doing is expressing what people have been observing. Whether someone likes it or not, it's out there now." Zayne's eyes softened for a moment as he gazed at her, then quickly returned to Mendeecees and Ashley. "I had faith in you both." His words lingered in the air, and the quiet was deafening. Her poise in the face of the storm was almost comical, given the commotion around her. Friends whispered to one another, aware that the night had definitely gotten out of hand, and now I feel like I can't trust anything anymore. Ashley attempted to clarify in Zayne's speed, but Mendeecees' struggle to find the appropriate words caused the disagreement to swiftly escalate out of hand. "It wasn't planned to hurt anyone," Mendeecees replied almost robotically. But now Zayne's feelings were too strong to ignore, and every word, every pause, every look seemed to be amplified, and he lowered his voice to a low, furious growl and said, "Hurt? Do you know what this feels like?" Online fans would then comment on the pure intensity, the unbridled rage, and the sense that this could be the turning point of the season. "Maybe Zayne," as they attempted to step in, one friend murmured softly, "We should all just calm down for a bit." However, Zayne's focus remained unwavering and intense. "Reduce your speed. According to what I recently learned, can I simply pretend that nothing is going on and take a sip of my drink?" There was no space for debate as his remarks reverberated throughout the space. A perfect storm of emotions, including dread and sorrow, were visible in Ashley's eyes, and Mendeecees' normally composed demeanor was cracking from the strain. It was a discovery that would be the center of months of fan investigation. As she watched, Karlie realized she had created a difficult-to-extinguish fire. Zayne's rage fluctuated between shock, grief, and quiet moments of introspection as the minutes passed slowly. As if attempting to physically digest the betrayal, he briefly fell into a chair and ran his hands through his hair. Ashley reached for him, reluctantly, but he withdrew. As he said softly, "Don't, just don't." His tone remained very emotive. It seemed as though the night had turned into an emotional battleground because of the sharp contrast between the present anxiety and the room's previous fun joy. Ashley tried to defend herself by saying, "I never wanted this to happen. It happened." Zayne's scathing laugh is the tension as voices raised once more. "I didn't know how to stop it." The severity of Zayne's outburst surprised even Karlie, who had anticipated some turmoil. The room's mood had entirely transformed. Casual talks had given way to unbridled emotion. It happened. Is that how you justify it? Do you even realize private? My life is private. That isn't private unless someone chooses to make it public. It is not truthful. The comments reverberated throughout the flat like a hammer. Ashley's face crumpled when she realized how huge of a storm she had been caught in, and her shame was evident in every syllable. The worry persisted throughout the night. As friends and bystanders attempted to comprehend what was occurring, murmurs of surprise and dismay drifted across the room. The betrayal was public, dramatic, and painful in addition to being personal. The story's proponents would later claim that this particular episode, in its most unadulterated state, contained the fundamental components of reality television drama. In one night, intense feelings, secrets revealed, and lives irrevocably changed. The tension in the room was still great, and the quiet was nearly intolerable. With his mind racing, Zayne leaned back in his chair and tried to comprehend what he had just heard. Ashley's hands twitched uneasily as she turned her head away from his blazing glare. The magnitude of the secret that had just been revealed made the normally composed Mendeecees appear strangely little. Karlie continued to be perceptive in a quiet way, knowing that her disclosure had set off a domino effect that was difficult to undo. The tape's later viewers would remark on how the amicable get-together had taken on the characteristics of a battlefield, with each gesture and look now carrying significance. "So, how long?" At last, Zayne asked in a low but sharp voice, his words calculated and tinged with betrayal. Ashley backed up little as Mendeecees gulped hard. Ashley sputtered, her voice almost breaking. As he spoke, Zayne's mouth tensed. "I never imagined that anyone would know. Unexpected. This is completely nonsensical, Ashley. How could you hide this from everyone I care about?" The room was electrified by the power of his voice. Friends shuffled uneasily, some looking at one another, uncertain whether to speak or remain silent. At last, Karlie's tone was straightforward, but composed. As though the word trust had struck him with the utmost force, Zayne's hands were tightly gripping the arms of his chair. The room seemed to hold its breath as he took it all in, each instant seeming to last longer than the one before. "Zayne, even if the truth may be messy, you have a right to know it." Her remarks appeared to ease the tension and allow Zayne to fully comprehend the magnitude of the betrayal. "Certainly not you, Zayne," Mendeecees defended himself by saying. "I wanted no one to be harmed." Zayne laughed bitterly, with a hint of incredulity mixed with rage. The bang echoed throughout the room as he slammed his fist nonchalantly against the table. "I thought I could manage it. Keep it private till the perfect time." "Private? Private? Is betrayal considered private? I had faith in both of you." Zayne got up and yelled, "I thought that what we had significance, and this is how it happened." Ashley flinched and covered her face with her hands. The friends present couldn't look away as the drama played out in real time, their emotions pure and unadulterated. As the argument rapidly heated up, voices began to overlap, each comment getting hotter than the one before it. "It has been reimbursed." Ashley began to say, "Zayne, please let me," but he cut her off with a sharp "don't," because her anger overcame his attempt to explain. "Simply don't. I can't hear it." His eyes were intense, and there was a kind of rage that seemed to permeate the space and make it difficult to concentrate on anything else. "I need you to comprehend the weight of this." Friends tried to interfere again. "Perhaps we should all take a breath," someone suggested, seeking to calm the mounting tension. Zayne shook his head and paced back and forth, his feelings vacillating between heartbreak and rage. "How can I breathe knowing that this has been happening right in front of me?" The phrases were heavy, and there was frustration in every word. As the space grew smaller by the moment and the atmosphere became more intensely emotional, his anger only increased at Ashley's attempts to defend herself. Karlie made the decision to step in and speak in a firm yet strong manner. Knowing that things would get out of control, Zayne stopped pacing and said, "See, it's available now. Hiding it won't help." After giving her a quick look, he returned his attention to Mendeecees and Ashley. "Even though it hurts, it's preferable to face it. Are you prepared? Since I realized that everything I had been thinking wasn't true, I have been coping with this. I'm not the only one who is concerned about this." Ashley's body trembled slightly as she tried to find the right words to fix what couldn't be fixed. Tears were streaming from her eyes. Loyalty, honesty, and trust. Everything seems broken. Mendeecees repeated in a calmer, almost resigned tone, "I didn't think it would turn out this way. I believed that we could resolve it amicably and quietly." Zayne responded sharply, relieving the strain. "As covertly as feasible. It is considered treachery to fix in silence." His remarks caused a noticeable hush in the room, which was only occasionally broken by sniffles or muttered apologies. "The mess you've made is greater than you can comprehend." Then the dispute continued. Emotions were running high as everyone tried to protect themselves and deal with the shock at the same time. Ashley's voice trembled as she said, "I never wanted to hurt anyone." Zayne laughed briefly, bitterly, almost incredulously. "Happen? Are you able to hear yourself? This kind of event doesn't happen. This includes choices, actions, and results. It happened, and I had no idea how to stop it." The group was shocked by how serious his comments were, and each friend quietly acknowledged how serious the argument was. "Are you aware of the harm you have caused?" Zayne alternated between pacing, sitting calmly, and immediately approaching Ashley and Mendeecees. As the night continued, The atmosphere felt like it was about to blow up, with stress in every single action, look, and breath. Karlie's revelation had set off a chain reaction that no one could halt. Once, as though the treachery were too, in a whispered voice, almost to himself, he asked, too big to properly say out loud. The room exuded an intense, emotionally charged vibe that was impossible to ignore. When friends attempted to mediate once more, Zayne reacted instantly, almost defensively. One of them stepped forward and said, "Perhaps we can talk about this calmly." Quietly, betrayal lacks composure. It is not a pleasant experience to discover that the individuals you trusted most have been harboring secrets. Mendeecees' customary self-assurance gave way to an awkward silence, and Ashley shrank back, shame and regret visible on her face. The showdown, which encapsulated all of the unrestrained passion and revealed friendships, betrayals and cracks that had been boiling for months, would subsequently be described by fans as the season's high point. Karlie watched intently, a mixture of worry and satisfaction on her face. She had been honest, but she also anticipated a convoluted, protracted, and uncertain result. Everyone in the room was impacted by the emotional weight of the affair, the disclosure, and the resulting turmoil. And even Karlie, who had begun the evening thinking she knew the truth, came to the realization that certain facts were difficult to manage or neatly conceal. The dynamic changed irrevocably. Hours passed during the confrontation, and each attempt at an apology, explanation, or justification only made everything more complicated. Ashley was clearly sorry. Zayne's confidence had been undermined, and Mendeecees' unease was palpable. The intensity, the rawness, and the sense that reality television had rarely captured something so intimate, so emotional, and so unfiltered were later mentioned by viewers in online comments. Anyone watching would be on edge, wondering what would happen next, since the drama was so real, and the actors, friends, and anyone else outside the room realized that what had started out as a carefree evening had devolved into a major emotional breakdown. Voices rose and fell, and the room was filled with whispers of surprise and disbelief. Later, fans would call this one of the most startling encounters of the season. A time when emotions were high, allegiances were called into question, and each person was forced to face facts they could no longer deny. Until the end of the evening, the atmosphere was heavy and unbroken. The tension remained, and no one was able to halt the series of events that the disclosure had initiated, even though Mendeecees, Ashley, Karlie, and Zayne were all emotionally spent. Zayne's face was pale, and his hands were fidgety, running now and then through his hair, trying to make sense of the betrayal he had just learned of. Ashley stayed seated with her shoulders bent and her gaze fixed on the floor, while Mendeecees avoided making any eye contact at all. Karlie lit the flame and watched in silence, understanding that this was far more than a mere argument. Friends hovered around, uncertain whether to intervene or to keep their distance, aware that any action could lead to yet another angry outburst. "You can't pretend that this never happened." At last, Zayne let out a shriek, his voice hardly modulated, every word bursting with unrestrained fury. "How long have you been keeping this a secret?" Ashley's lips quivered softly in response to Mendeecees' hesitant comment, and Zayne's gaze narrowed.